We will look at how to solve problem involving exponent. We can create a method. Despite we have the method in Java that will deal with this problem, but there are so many assignments which is given that they want us to create the method that can do it without using the Java method. Now let me show you the Java method and then later create the method that can solve this problem. Here is the equation. Compute the power of a given number given the base and the exponent. Do it using while loop, do while loop, or for loop. We can do it with while loop, do while loop, or for loop. It doesn't matter, it can solve the problem, whatever the method we can use. Now the first thing, that we have the same method in math.pow, but we want to create the method that can solve this problem ourselves. Okay, let's check the method in the Java class that solve this problem. Okay, math.pow. This method power receive two numbers, which is the base and the exponent. Now let's say 3 comma 2, which is like 3 to the power of 2. It will return 9. Now let's store this in double, since that it return double. Result equal to math.pow, and then let's print this in the console and see the result. Okay, now let's check the result. Here we have 9.0. It's written 9.0 because we are the method is using double, so that it can receive both the number that has point, which is decimal number, and the number that has no point. But we can use our own with integer, because in the example we will give in this tutorial we will not use decimal. Okay, now the first thing we wanna do to have a method like this, we will first write it here in this public static method, and later bind it in another class and call the method like how we call this power method. Okay, what we need first, we need the we need the exponent. Okay, we need the exponent. Let's say that our exponent is 2, and then base equal to 3, which is 3 to the power of 2. Okay, now let's have another integer result equal to 1. Now we have they set this equal to 1 because whatever the value that we have with our base, we will times this value with 1, and then this 1 will become 3, and then times it to the next. We will have different results. Let me show you what I mean. Let's start with while loop. Now having while loop like this, and then set it to while exponent, we will have a counter variable, integer counter equal to 0, and then while exponent is not while counter is not equal to, like this, exponent. While our counter is not equal to exponent, we will have this counter plus plus, counter plus plus, like this, so that the value of the counter will continue changing. So we have this while counter is not equal to exponent. Now we will write our logic here. Okay, what is the logic? We will first have result equal to base, which is this, times result. Okay, now then we will have to print the result after the while loop, after computing the result. Now let's run this and see what we have. Okay, now we have 9. Yes, it is 9. This is the logic, and now let me change it using the for loop and see what we will have. Okay, for loop. For the for loop, we need integer counter. Our counter will be here, counter. Let's remove this counter from here, so that we will have this counter inside here. For integer counter equal to 0, and then counter less than exponent, then counter plus plus, and then let's write the same logic that we have written. Okay, now we will have result equal to base times result. Let's print this and see if we can have 9. You can do it yourself with the do while loop. I will do it with while loop and for loop, so you can practice it yourself using do while loop. And let's change the value, this value, let's set that 3 to the power of 4. Let's run it again. Okay, we have 81. So this is working. Now what we will do, we will bind it into, we will create a class and then have a method that will return this result like the math class. Here may be confusing for some people, because they will say that why here is not 0. What the problem is that if we set this result to 0, this base times the result, which is 1, initially will be 0. So our result will be 0. It will continue times 0 until it finish this iteration. Okay, so we set this to 1, so that if base, we have base times result, which is 3 times 1, we have 3. So now our result is 3, and then we will have another 3 here, so that we will times the with our new result 3 again. So this is the logic. Now let's create a class to have our logic inside. Okay, Java class, let name it math with s to differ from the class that we have in the created by the Java. Okay, now that we create a math class, now let's copy this logic to inside our math class. Okay, we have remaining logic. Now we will change this one by one. Okay, so let's create a method public static int. Let name it power, and it will have two parameter, integer base and integer exponent. Now that we have this, we have nothing to do with this base and exponent, which will make our code easier to read. Okay, now next thing is that to copy this for loop and paste it here. Okay, now we have to set this to private, since that even if we use another class, there is no need to have this. Now that we have, and then we will delete this again, so that now what we need to is return result. Okay, here we are having problem with the result. It cannot be static. Okay, we solve this problem, and this method will return result. Okay, let's try using this method. We have math, which is here is in the package of coding techniques, different from the math that we have in the java.lang. Okay, dot I have let public int power. Okay, since that I have not made this static, let's create object before accessing math equal to new math dot power. Let's have like 3 to the power of 2. We have exponent and base. Okay, now that we have this, let's store it in integer and result. If we store it like this, and then let's print the result. Okay, we have 9. This is how we create a method power. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you subscribe our channel for more tutorials.